Welcome back, future doctors and medical enthusiasts. By now, I know you guys already started your first few weeks of medical school. By the way, congratulations, you guys made it. You guys are future doctors. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. I have 5 tips for you guys today on how to survive your first few weeks of medical school. Here we go. Alright guys, by now you guys are probably overwhelmed with all the stuff they've been giving you for medical school, classes and whatnot. So let's go ahead and get started with my first tip. Tip number 1, scheduling and planning. Medical school gives you a lot of information up front. So what you need to do is go ahead and be structured. It's just to create a framework for you. So the first things first, follow these steps, okay? You want to pull up a day schedule. In that day schedule, put in your lectures and your classes, then put in all your meal times, and then put in your study time. In your study time, you need to be specific. Put Anki cards, lecture review, medical videos, it doesn't matter what it is. Make sure they're set into those blocks so you know what you're doing. After you've done your day schedule that way, then I want you to go ahead and create your week schedule based off of the same model, or half a week. Those are the 2 time increments that I tell you to do, because more than a week is going to be overwhelming, less than a week is going to be wasting too much time. Now that you've created that, I want you to go ahead and add in your breaks. And on top of your breaks, one of the most important things to add into your schedule, you need to have me time in your schedule. Me time basically is half a day or an evening, maybe once or twice a week, where you don't do anything at all related to school. No school, okay? You can go spend time with your spouse, go spend time with a friend, do whatever it takes, but get away from school so you can relax, unwind, and come back fresh again the next time you start. So remember guys, the schedule is fluid. Remember, it's not meant to be stick to the schedule, because you won't always do it, and that's okay. Don't overwhelm yourself that way. The schedule is there to give you a structure so you know what to do when you forget. Study tip number 2 is study group. The reason why I'm saying study group is because for me, I wouldn't have been as sane or doing as well as I am in medical school without my study group. It is very important. And I know some of you are going to be saying, I do better on my own. That's great. If you do better on your own, study on your own, but you still need to have study group. The reason I say that is because study groups are there to help you whenever you don't know information, whether you miss something in lecture, or even if you ask a question, you get something wrong and you don't know why, they can explain it to you. Most likely somebody in your study group is going to know it. So with that, study group is something that you need to structure the way that you need it, okay? It isn't something that fits everybody. So the size of the group, the amount of times that you meet, all those things are going to be variant depending on you and what meets your needs. So if you're one of those people that like to study on your own better, I would recommend that you create a group of maybe 2 to 3 people tops. That way you can have still somebody that can hold you accountable, but yet you're still able to get that study group vibe and feel while still getting your own personal study time. Maybe meet once a week, maybe twice a week. That depends on you. But study groups are really essential, and I would highly recommend them in your medical school journey. Believe me, you'll thank me later for this. All right guys, tip number 3, create your space. I know this sounds really funny, but this is very important. And there are 2 different ways to do this. So the first one is for those that people are on campus. If you're on campus, find 1 or 2 places that you know that this is your study place. So make sure you go prepared. I want you to have your snacks, your headphones, your water, whatever it may be that you need to study. Create that environment for yourself. For those of you guys like me, online, or just like to study at home, create your space in your home. Guys, invest in it. This is important. You're gonna be doing this for a long time. Make sure you feel comfortable. For example, when I was going from on campus to online, I basically only had a folding table and a bench to sit on. Man, that hurt. 6 to 8 hours a day sitting on that, extremely uncomfortable. When I got a chance, I upgraded. I have 2 monitors now. I have a desk, standing desk. It goes up and down whenever I need it to. You can see me, I am doing a lot better. My DVTs are gonna probably decrease now, and I'm a lot more active when I study. See, this is how I studied now that I have a standing desk. With that, this is important to make sure you are creating the space and you know that when you're here, you are here to study. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward to my next tip. Tip number 4, resources. Now I know this is a very controversial topic, everybody has their own opinions on it, and that's totally fine. The reason why everybody has this is because there's so many things out there. I recommend that you go ahead and find a few things, try it for a week or so, and if it doesn't work out for you, try something else. So I'm gonna give you my recommendations on the top ones that I've liked to use and that I found really helpful for new students. Now, again, I'm not affiliated with any of these places. I just found them really helpful for me. So the first thing I would recommend is Anki. Anki has been super helpful for me. It's been life-saving. And I know a lot of people get overwhelmed when they hear Anki, or they're like, yeah, I'm using that already. Perfect. If you're using it already, keep it up. Watch some more Anki videos on how to improve and how to become better at using it, especially for medical school. If you've never used it, that's okay. If you don't like using flashcards or things like that, I understand, but I would still recommend that you try at least 1 to 2 weeks using Anki. The reason is because you never know what kind of help it can actually give you. The Anki is a little bit different. The hard part about it is getting set up and started. I recommend that you watch ANKING, his videos. They set it up and they tell you what to do real quick, real easy, so you can just get going right away. And yes, if you guys have a lot of questions on this or you guys want to know more about this, comment below. And that way I can know and I can create a video on it and give you guys information how to set it up real quick and get you going. So you're not wasting a lot of time doing this, because you can get stuck in Anki, in the world of Anki and all this stuff. Don't do it, just try to get set up real quick and then move forward, okay? All right, next I would recommend using an iPad or some type of tablet. So the reason I'm saying this is because you want to have handwritten notes. Yes, some people like to write on paper, that's great. And if you want to do that, then do that, more power to you. I found that writing handwritten notes on my iPad has been super helpful because I can import my lectures, write on my lectures. There's lots of different things you can do with it, and it's extremely helpful. Now, I use Notability. I have friends that use OneNote. I've heard of Evernote. There's lots of different things out there. My top two, I would say, is Notability and OneNote. Those two I found to be the best, and I've heard great things about them. Now, it's whatever is easier for you, you use that. Like I said, try something out. If you don't like it, switch to something else. They should both be pretty cheap. I think OneNote is actually free. Now, when you have your note-taking system, I would recommend then getting first aid. First aid is super important. It's very helpful because it gives you lots of mnemonics, gives you lots of things that you can use to help you understand the material faster. It's basically like a condensed version of what the step exam is. So it's super helpful. Plus, if you have Notability or any of those things, you can basically put your first aid in there and then take your notes on your first aid manual, so that way you always know where to go for all your notes. It's all in one place. Super helpful. I definitely recommend it. Now, one of the big ones that you probably have heard a million times before are all the video resources. There's tons of these, guys. There's Pixarize, there's Sketchy, Boards and Beyond, Pathoma, Osmosis, and so on. There's millions of these things. I repeat, do not get them all in the very beginning. You will get overwhelmed and you won't even use them correctly, and you'll just waste a ton of time trying to figure out how. I would recommend sticking to 1 or 2 things just to start off and see what works best for you. If you're strapped for money, because these things cost a lot, if you're strapped for money, I would say try to get Pathoma and either Sketchy or Pixarize. Those guys are going to be the ones that encompass a lot of information for you, and it's really, really helpful. I found them very helpful for me in general. If you're going to be doing term 1 stuff, like beginning medical school stuff, I would also recommend Osmosis, because that one is actually be more geared towards a lot of those first year medical stuff. Pathoma is going to be geared a little bit more towards second year, because you're going to talk a lot more about the pathophysiology of things. It just depends on your setup for your school. But Pathoma, Sketchy, or Pixarize, one of those two, and Osmosis. Those are really good ones. Boards and Beyond's amazing. All these other ones are really good, but again, if you're strapped for money, I would go for those. And then when you're using them, make sure you're trying to be consistent with them and try to use them along with your study. Don't replace your study for them, okay? All right, guys, so we're here for our last and 5th and final tip of the day. That's gonna be forgive yourself. I know you guys are probably scratching your head saying, what in the world is that? It is extremely important, probably one of the biggest takeaways you can get from this video today. Forgive yourself, guys. You're going to be going through a lot of stuff. You're gonna probably fall behind. You're probably gonna be learning how to study again. Like, this is all new stuff for you. Medical school is different from everything you've done in the past, and that's okay. Take your time. Remember, guys, the habits you make right now are gonna be the things that help and guide you through the rest of your 4+ years in medical school. This is a marathon. Take your time, learn from your mistakes. Take those mistakes and make something better from them. When you're going through that tough time, guys, just remember why you're doing this. If you need to post something up above your desk and saying, this is the reason why I'm doing medicine, do that. Whatever helps you guys. One thing I want to make sure that you understand as you're going through this tough stuff and you feel like you're being overwhelmed, remember that all the things that you're going through right now is so that you can be there for that patient that's having a hard time, and you can hold their hand and say, it's going to be okay. I can help you. Because you took the time to study and you took the time to get this done. You're going to be great. I believe in you. I know you're going to kill it. So don't forget that, guys. Now, with this being said, I want you guys to go ahead and write down in the comments, click the subscribe button, and tell me what you want to hear from me. What other things did I not touch on, or what are some other things that you want me to expound on more, so you can actually get a little bit more information from. I made this brief so you can be able to hear it quick and easy, and I don't want to take too much of your time. Again, guys, hit me up, let me know what's going on, and I'll try to help you out in the next video. Remember, guys, you never know what you can learn when you think medical. See you next time.